Hey guys, today's video will be a little bit special. I just wrote a book. Now, if you want to be on the book launch and grab a signed copy, you can head over here. We could give you all the details. 6 and 7 July. So hope to see you there. But anyways, I think, Jonathan, you have a few questions for me. So
Yes,
why not you shoot them?
Correct. So this is just a sneak peek on what is MJ's mind when he was writing the book. Okay, so the first question I think many of you guys will ask is, what prompted you to write a book?
Yeah, so I actually did not want to write a book. I never intend to write a book, but many thanks to my studio, my publisher, Kanyin Studios, they insisted that I wrote. And it's interesting because they approached me on TikTok. And at first, I thought it was a scam. It's like, you approached me on TikTok, in my DMs. I think I took a while to respond, and then I had a chat with them, and then they insisted on, hey, you gotta write a book, because I believe Adrian, who is in charge of Kanyin, saw a video of me talking about interest rates and something like that. He said, hey, you should write a book on the economy and investing and all that. I really never saw myself as an author. I don't think that I have the capabilities to, but I thought, since if someone is so bullish on me, I thought maybe do not let that person down. So we had a meeting. The first meeting was pretty good. And then by the second meeting, we decided to go ahead with the book. So the title is actually 100K by 30. And some people might be asking, why is it not an investing book and all that? And so I thought that if I wrote an investing book, even if I was the best writer in Malaysia, I'm only going to be 10-20% better than the next writer, because, investing can be quite technical and dry subject. And plus, if you want to learn about investing from us, we already have our SIB program or our Viral Pro program, which you can check out. So anyways, I thought I'd write something that would be a little bit more unique in the market. And so I came up with this title, 100K by 30. So some of you might be asking, is it ringgit, is it US dollars, Sing dollars, whatever. It applies to all. Money, the rules of money is the rules of money. And also, just to add one more thing, why 100K by 30 is because I want to write something where, I don't want some old guy in the comment section or someone who met me on the street to say, what do you know about money? You're not even 30 yet, right? So I just put there 100K by 30, So at least it's two things that I've touched.
Okay. Now, the number is very interesting because it's just 100,000, right?
Yeah.
So some may even ask, why is it not 200 or 300?
Yeah. So here's the thing. I discussed with my editor as well. Why is it not 200 and 300? And we will have second, third, fourth editions. And as inflation paces, we will adjust. In fact, on the top of my mind, the next one will be maybe 250,000 by 30, maybe 5-10 years down the road, Okay. So we did discuss. But why 100K by 30 is because, so in Malaysia, 41% of people, this is based on the World Inequality Database, I believe. So I'm not sure exactly how accurate, but I think it is. Only 41% of people in Malaysia as a whole, of all ages, races, sexes, gender and all that, have 100,000 net worth and above. So if you adjust by two things, the first is, if you exclude the primary residence, which is included in a lot of people's net worth, then that number becomes even lower. Because a lot of people actually, 1 in 4, 1 in 2, people have 100,000 net worth and above. So it doesn't sound like that impressive. But when you actually exclude the primary residence, which is where you stay, then that number drops a lot. I don't know by how much, but a lot, right? And you might ask, why is primary residence excluded? Well, to me, it's not really an asset, or at least not an asset in the first 30 years of owning it, because you're staying there. So that's why I decided to do it. That's the first one. The second one is you adjust it by 30 years old. It's even smaller, right? Yep. So when you take these three diagrams, 100K, 30 years old, and exclude primary residence, the number becomes very small, and therefore it's still a worthwhile journey to go for 100K. Because a lot of people say even $1 million is really ringgit and whatever. It's really not a lot. I meet Singaporeans who say $1 million Sing dollars is nothing. Now a random flat in Singapore is already 1 million.
Yeah.
Right? The Ulu area in Singapore where there's no connectivity is also like 400, 500,000 already. So really, a lot of people think it's not a lot, but I detail in the book why, giving a lot of examples why 100,000 by 30 is actually still very, very respectable.
Okay. Now the third one is a more juicy one because if you can write about this book, right? How do you achieve personally?
Yeah. So the way I did it is that the way I realized is because when I first started out, I worked for a research firm, all right? It's financial software / research firm. And I was the analyst there. And I was paid, even without a degree, I was paid, thanks to the boss, right? I was paid a decent salary. Like it was fresh grad and more actually. When I left the company, plus all the OTs and bonuses, all that, I'm probably earning sort of a middle manager's salary, maybe slightly under, right? So through my experience, I realized that the way to get 100K mainly is not through investing, which is what a lot of people want, right? Maybe they get 5,000 ringgit from the ang pao money or 10,000 and they want to turn it into 100, which is a 10x return, which is quite difficult, right? I realize it's mostly just about restricting your budget, right? It's saying that I'm going to, every dollar I make, I'm going to save a certain amount. And from that, if you can create that consistency, you technically don't even need a side hustle to achieve this before 30. It's very, very possible. Now, there's the flip side, which is you might become too much of a miser, which again, I detailed in my book, right? You don't want to be someone who is just focused on, saving every little dollar and not spending at all, especially spending on education or experiences. Something I only figured out much later compared to my early 20s, where it was just about the number, right? So yeah, basically just saving money. Just getting a decent job and then saving money.
Your book is by 30. So will this book be applicable to those who's above 30?
Yeah, so I actually explained in our Instagram story when we announced the book that it's really just a bait, right? This title is just a bait. And because I was thinking, what title should I put that, might get people to be interested? And I came out with this. But the thing is, I would say 90% or maybe even 100% actually of the book applies to people above 30. However, there are certain things that are not in the book that would apply to someone in their 30s. So for example, I didn't write anything about children, right? Big part of your finances. Why? Because A, I don't have children.
Yeah.
And B, I'm not above 30 yet, right? So that's one, things like will writing, morbid things like will writing, so all these other things, right? But if you exclude that, by and large, the things in the book would apply to people above 30.
Okay. What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out their financial journey and they are feeling very overwhelmed?
Yeah, so you have to identify why you are overwhelmed in the first place. And I don't know, everybody's a bit different, right? Chances are you're overwhelmed because you're seeing other people ahead. Yeah, that's a good chance. Most of the time is because you see your friend suddenly he got a car, or he got his first promotion within a year, or he's earning X amount, or he's already married. He bought a house. All these different things, right? So that is usually the biggest reason. And in fact, I believe in chapter 1, right? I detailed how really it's a solo game. Wealth is a solo game. And once you realize that, then life becomes a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So, but of course, there are some people who just have bad luck, right? Maybe you inherit debts from your parents. Maybe you've got into a bad relationship, it costs you a lot of money. So for those, I think, I would say same thing. Like, what is the source of you being overwhelmed? And just avoid that.
Yeah. Comparison is a thief of joy, guys.
Yeah, in that sense, yeah.
Okay, so from the book, right, if you have to pick one principle to your success, what would it be?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, these principles are not mine. It's just something that I discovered, but other people have brought this up a lot. And it's the first chapter of the book, actually. Technically speaking, the second one is also very powerful. So, but I'll just focus on the first one, which is this concept called N equals 1. So, most people, when we make decisions in a group sense. Okay, let's give an example. Right? Let's say if you wanted to buy a property. Now, this is a stereotype, okay, guys? But say someone say, hey, you should check out Klang. So the stereotype of Klang is that it's not as safe. There's more robberies or whatever. I don't know how true that is. It's maybe not as hygienic, whatever, right? We tend to make decisions based on that. All of us are like that, right? In some sense. So we'll say on that basis, yes, net, Klang is have pretty bad. It's a bad area to live in, right? But the concept n equals 1 is this idea that yes, it's true that a group might have that characteristic, but you are making a specific decision, which is a specific house. So it could be that within Klang, there is a particular house that does not have the same characteristics. And that would be the best option for you because of your circumstance. So maybe you were opting for a lower price house, and let's say because Klang has all this reputation, therefore the house values are lower. But you want to get a place that is cheaper or more affordable, and perhaps your work is nearby. Therefore, the wider point of Klang being a bad place to live in doesn't really apply to you. That's why they call it n equals 1. So when you say Klang is a place where it's a bad place to live, that might be n equals 1,000.
Yeah.
Right? Because 1,000 houses or 2,000 houses. But you're buying one house. You're not buying the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to even stock investing, right? You can talk about the market. Oh, yeah, this year market is going to be bad. Yeah, you're probably right. All the economists say it's bad, all the top investors saying, yeah, we're not so bullish, blah, blah, blah. But you're buying one stock. And that stock can go up in a year where everything is down. And in fact, the older I grow, not to say I'm very old, but every year that passes, I realize it's even more n equals 1. You start to realize, hey, actually, you're not quite like your friends. You think when you are young that you're like your friends. But then 10 years into the workforce, you realize actually you're very, very different people, very, very different interests. And they call this, in modern talk, the girl is growing apart, right?
Or independent thinker.
In that sense. So once you realize that it's really just about you, wealth is about a solo game, and you have to look at your specific circumstances.
Yeah. So if you're applying to stock market investing, right, some people will say that this guy will be the next Warren Buffett, right? So actually, there will be any more Warren Buffett already.
Yeah, there's only one.
There's only one.
So that would be the one principle. And the benefits of this principle is that you realize, tying back to the earlier point, that comparing is really almost a waste of time.
Yeah.
Right? You cannot say someone who has 100,000 by 30 is better than someone who only has 2 ringgit by 30. You don't know the circumstance, right? Maybe he got a bad accident. Maybe he had a bad boss or whatever. Or parents are poor, right? So didn't get to send him to get an education. So he had to come and work early in a not so easy industry. So there's all these sort of things. And if you're not going to look at all the details in your life, then it's not going to be beneficial to you. So n equals 1.
Yeah. Okay. Before we go to the last question, one more. It is, since we are all about stock investing, right? We talk about stock and everything. And so far you've been talking a lot about personal finance and skill sets.
That's right.
Would there be any topic related to stocks?
100%. So there are two topics, chapter 6, chapter 7. So chapter 6 is about the universe of investing. Okay, what are your options? And stocks are mentioned. Then chapter 7 will be very deep into stocks. In fact, it is the longest chapter. It's also the driest chapter. I believe that chapter alone is 20,000 words, whereas the total number of words, 60-odd thousand.
Wow.
So about a third of the book's actually in one chapter. So it'll be the driest, it'll be the most difficult to get through. But inside I talk a lot about the formula for investing that I've discovered and I notice kind of works, not just for me, but for a lot of other people, right? And then I go into case studies into each component of the formula. And you can see the full book, the full chapter.
Okay, last question.
Yeah.
Will there be a second book, and when would the second book be?
Not anytime soon. I'm not thought about it. I think a lot of whether there will be a second book will be based on
how well this first book.
Not just how well, but also what follow-up questions? Because people will read this, and the thing is, the book's 290 pages long, but don't read the words are big, right? So you can actually finish it in over a weekend. So you spend maybe 2-3 hours Saturday, Sunday. You should be able to finish it.
There's
or
pictures
at least,
also, right?
Yeah, there are pictures. Yeah. At least the chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8, they are quite easy to read. It's just chapter 7 that's difficult, right?
The investing part.
Really, the investing part.
Yeah.
So, which is also another reason why I didn't want to write it to be a pure investing book, because otherwise it just gets a bit too boring, right? So it's not just whether the book is successful, it's also what follow-up questions that people might have.
Interesting.
Because maybe they read a certain portion of the chapter and then they're like, hey, wait, that's it? Can you expand more and stuff like that? Could be anything, right? Because I never really go deep into there's a chapter on saving money, and then I never go super deep into learning how to find the best deals here and there, or like credit card cashbacks or whatever. I never really go into that. So we'll see.
Yeah. So spoiler ahead, I have already read the book already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good. So you guys better check it out. On the 6th and 7th, come for the new launch, because you're going to be meeting MJ, and also you're going to get his auto.
Yeah, signed copy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
you can pre-order. We put a link inside.
Yeah.
In the comment section and description.
Yeah. And if you got any question, you can just come to that event and just ask in person.
It'll be also our very first physical FIRO event.
Correct. Okay, so that's about it for today's video. And before you guys go, this is the updated performance for Fire Pro in June 2024. We are down by a little bit. So right now we're about 57%, but the boring portfolio, it is up 7%. And this portfolio we actually launched in April 2024, which is like 3 months ago, which is quite insane. And you can see that the boring portfolio is the only portfolio that have the most positive. They have 0 losses so far, as compared to the other 2 portfolios. So if you want to know what is Fire Pro, Catalyst, and Boring, Fire Pro is basically our best ideas where we showcase it to our members. Catalyst is more towards the short-term catalyst. If there's any companies that is announcing interesting things in the short term and we don't really have time to write the report, we'll straight away announce you in the Catalyst portfolio. And if you're a conservative and dividend investor, then the Boring portfolio is definitely for you. So if you want to know more information about Fire Pro, you can check out our free resources. The links to our free sample to this is at the description and also in the comments below. And that's about it for today's video. Make sure to come to the physical event, and we cannot wait to see you guys there.
Bye-bye.